Okay. It's so cold in this basement. And, okay. So, sorry if that's a really annoying noise. Now let's do chapter 7. Still going with this bullshit. I found myself fallen, somewhere deep in a conscious state of unconsciousness. I found myself fallen? What the fuck? How, like, what? That's not even... It's not even correct. This is the first sentence. I found myself fallen somewhere deep in a conscious state of unconsciousness, someplace I can't even remember. It may sound strange, no shit, Sherlock, even ridiculous, but I felt like I opened my eyes while I was asleep and saw only black. Oh, did you experience sleep paralysis like most of us do? You're not special, Greg. Not as if I were blind, but as if the rest of existence had simply disappeared and I was just, alone. You don't need a comma there, stupid face. It wasn't long before I woke to find myself submerged in reality once more. Submerged in reality? Yeah, that's just a failed attempt at sounding deep, in that you use a completely incorrect word. Thoughts of Abby quickly greeted me as I adjusted to the experience of my physical surroundings. For a week now, I had been constantly reminding myself how lucky I was to have a relationship that actually made sense. Dude, you're like 17. How many fucking relationships make sense at that age? Abby never did anything that I felt betrayed me or exceeded the bounds of reason. Show, don't tell, just show, don't tell. Your readers are not stupid. Maybe they are, because I'm still reading it. Davis was sitting next to me on the bus. He was talking about his Lego collection and how he loved matching colors in a sequence within the structures he assembled. He said it made him feel like there was some balance and order to his life in a weird way. What are you judging fucking Davis about? Like, all of a sudden, like, oh, it's some, like, weird order. When you feel completed by a fucking relationship. While I listened to Davis, my thoughts partially remained on Abby. Oh my god. She continued to fill my mind with hope no matter where I was or what I was doing. Hope for what? Like, is this character broken and now he's fixed? Like, what is going on? Like, why are you so obsessed with your lady? Like, if I had a boyfriend and he was like, Gina, every thought of when I am not with you is consumed with you, I'd be like, you're a creepy bitch, go away. And yes, I'd call him a bitch. Everybody's a bitch. Or a prick. Or a slut. Okay, I'm stopping. Slut's a cool word. I'm okay with being called that. If anybody ever calls me that. We arrived at school on, you guessed it, another cloudy day. Holy fuck. Are you trying to, like, make your novella, become self-aware and thinking it's charming? Because it's not. I know it was... You know? That's completely... Like, what... Like, why are you changing tenses so quickly? I know it was unreasonable to assume, but I often felt like our school was the darkest place in the city. Oh my fucking god. Yet at the school, you're a TA, and everybody likes you, apparently, even though you hate them all. It was as if every morning the clouds would execute a biased agenda against our school, all for the sake of depressing every poor soul who was attending it. Wow. Somebody didn't have a nice time in high school. The wind was blowing. That's that whole sentence. That's like the shortest sentence I've seen so far. It's like the shortest sentence in the Bible is apparently Jesus wept. So the shortest passage in Greg's bullshit is the wind was blowing. Looking back, I felt like everything about that morning was screaming at me to wake up and see what was really going on. But I couldn't see it. I don't know how I could have. What? Dramatic events have a way of sneaking up on us, leaving us only with feelings of remorse and thoughts of what could have been. James, Greg, speak for yourself. Please stop speaking for other people. Like, you know, you haven't really established that your character is an everyman that can speak for everybody. Your character is clearly a psychotic individual who's a little too obsessed with his girlfriend for no other reason other than she completes you. So stop fucking talking to everybody like this, like you fucking know what everybody else is thinking. Even though he does. Oh my god. Oh, Davis got off the bus behind me, tripping a little. A normal kid would have gotten upset, but Davis, as usual, found a way to turn it into something positive. He even laughed as he stumbled. Like, how many times do you have to say, as usual? Like, Davis did something kooky. Like, shut the fuck up, God. I turned to check on Davis to make sure he was okay when I heard a loud popping sound ring off towards the school. What? Wait, so, like, him just giggling that he tripped is, like, making light of a situation? Alright. My immediate assumption was that a car in the back parking lot had just backfired. There were a lot of crappy second-hand cars at our school, so it wasn't unreasonable. But still, I assumed wrong. Oh no. Davis and I heard screams immediately after. In a way, the wind seemed to turn the screams... What? Wait. Davis and I heard screams immediately after. After what? Like, that's not clear. In a way, the wind seemed to turn the screams what sounded like a chorus, one familiar to the haunting dream I had about Abby now many days past. Oh, God. That was the most twisted or wordy sentence ever. Like, I don't know what he was trying to convey there. I mean, I can assume he's like, oh... The screams are really nice. It reminded me of a dream I had about Abby. But fucking what? Oh my god. Hearing more popping sounds and screams in the wind. Screams in the wind? Really? I grabbed Davis's jacket, pushing him back towards the bus. That's how it's written. I grabbed. Like, he claims that he read this again. I don't think he did, or else he's really that fucking stupid. Students who weren't aware of what was going on due to the heavy wind and competing noise from the bus engines reacted as if we were being inconsiderate jerks. You did not need to say all that. Oh my god. To shake everyone into reality, I screamed, "There's a shooting, get back on the bus." A sudden panic. No shit. You say, there's a shooting. It's kind of obvious that there's going to be a sudden panic. Took over everyone within the vicinity. Oh my god, so you hear popping and screaming. Like, you don't see anything. This is very strange. I know that there was a school shooting in this book. But this is strange how it's just kind of coming out of nowhere, number one. Number two... It's at chapter 7, and there's like 20-something chapters, I think. The bus driver, who was already looking around, suspicious of the faint sounds he heard, reacted as well. "Get on the goddamn bus," he screamed. I could hear some students begin to cry out of panic. Cry out of panic? Okay. That's not right. As we all rushed to duck down behind the bus seats. The bus driver slammed the door shut, leaving behind a few students who had already walked too far away from the bus. Oh my god, this is so goddamn mechanical, it just makes me want to punch it in the face. The driver, despite being a grown man, was freaking out like everyone else, and, as a result, found himself crashing our bus into the one parked immediately ahead of him. Oh, okay. So during a school shooting where there's obviously panic going on, James still finds time to to critique somebody and to judge somebody. Because, you know, God forbid that ever fucking happens around you where there's a shooting going on. You're gonna judge somebody and be like, oh, they're freaking out. Well, no shit, they're freaking out. Are you kidding me? This is psychotic. That's psychotic to make an observation like that in the middle of a school shooting. Jesus. And like there's no indication that the bus was moving forward. All of a sudden it crashes. Why is he driving the bus? Like, why not just, I don't know why he's driving the bus. As the bus he wrote, as the buses collided, but he put BUS apostrophe S. Come on. As the buses collided, our bodies smacked into the seats ahead of us. All of our bodies, all of our collective body. One student wasn't even hiding behind the seats yet and flew forward to land face down in the aisle. Like, clearly he wasn't hiding behind the seat if he fell into the aisle. All you have to say is, one student, I saw out of the corner of my eye a student falling face first into the aisle. Something, I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of implied that he wasn't even hiding behind the seats yet. Jesus Christ. The bus driver, quickly recovering from his mistake, backed up to maneuver out of the drop-off area. The window by my seat fell off the side of the bus and shattered on the ground. Okay. While the front windows also began to attach after being impacted by the earlier collision. Oh my god, like, this keeps going back between Greg being so stupid that he can't, like, form words. Oh my god, that was a bad that was a bad indication right there. This is Greg just being a poor enough writer where he can't comprehend just how to say his phrases coherently, but it's also like your readers aren't that stupid where they can't remember 2 seconds ago that the bus collided, so obviously there's gonna be cracked motherfucking windows. But maybe not, I don't know, if you get into a fender bender, like a window next to you isn't gonna fall off. Anyway, a thunderous gust of wind burst through the void left by the fallen windows. Oh. With the wind came the sounds of even louder gunshots and screaming as if the shooter was closer to the front of the school. I was too scared to look, but someone else had locked their eyes on the front door of the school and screamed, "Seth!" A sense of absolute horror overtook my body, and tears began to flow from my eyes. I highly motherfucking doubt that happened to your character, James. There is absolutely no personality to back up that he would even be crying at a school shooting. Do you know why? Because he just judged the bus driver for being fucking upset. Oh my god. If Seth was really shooting up the school, I knew it meant he would be looking for Abby. All fear left my body. Thinking only of her, I leapt up and screamed, "You have to let me off right now." The bus driver ignored me initially. He was too concerned with getting away from the school. Like you previously said. He probably didn't even hear me with everything that was going on, because you just know that. Oh my god. The inconsistent and forceful acceleration forced me to fall back in my seat. Countless thoughts pounded through my head, and yet every other word screamed Abby's name. Oh, this is painfully horrible. My mind was numb. Oh my god. We know. The wind surged through my hair. Everyone around acted almost like magnets. Please, it's fucking magnets. Helplessly nailed to the dirty floor. I was the only one sitting in a seat, completely lost in thought. I don't want him to talk about things that go on in his head anymore. My eyes staring off 1,000 yards, my skin pulsating with heat. Ew, gross. I felt like I was a bomb only minutes away from detonation. Jesus, you, like, self-indulgent piece of shit. Like, no concern with anybody getting fucking shot at your school. No, of course not, because he hates them all. Ugh, I remained silent, comma, still, comma, waiting for my numbers to fall in sync. What the fuck? Waiting for my mind to greenlight an act that would change my life forever. That's a statement. That's not really a sentence there. I had a moment of abnormally intense clarity. Oh my god, like, Greg basically just put a whole fuckload of adjectives into a pot, stirred them around, pissed on them, and then pulled them out and threw them into every single motherfucking sentence except for the wind, that one, what was it one? The wind was strong, something like that. Seth had irreversibly lost his mind. What? Like, where did that come from? I could only suspect he would likely blame his broken state on Abby after their last encounter. I couldn't take thinking about it for more than a few seconds. Oh my god, I'm gonna punch you, James. I'm gonna punch you so hard. I sprinted up to the driver and screamed, "If you don't let me off, I'll jump off." The bus driver plunged the bus into the side of the road violently. What? As a result, I stumbled, falling hands first onto the bus dashboard. The driver yelled, "You got a death wish, that's your choice, but I'm getting everyone else to safety." He opened the door and aggressively motioned for me to get off. Oh my god, this bus driver would be fired in like a second. And like, this bus driver is so unimportant to Greg that he doesn't even give him a name. Like, it's just the bus driver, the driver, the bus driver, the driver. Who is now endangering students instead of being like, sit your fucking 17-year-old ass back in the seat, we are getting the fuck out of here. So, like, but of course, like, Greg has to self-insert himself into everything, and he always has to be right, and he always has to do whatever the fuck he wants, because he's Greg, and, ooh, I'm Greg, I'm a vegetarian whose child is over a year old and hasn't made a single mention about him. And all of you are haters because you don't like my book. Oh. Isn't that, like, weird to anybody else that, like, Greg has, like, a 1-year-old child and hasn't said a single fucking word about him? That, like, that's something really telling. That's really fucked up. That's your kid. I know I'm not a mother, and I probably won't be one for a very long time. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? I'm just saying, like, for somebody who's on the internet as much as him, it's very strange that he keeps his kid silent. That's, like, that poor child. I feel so bad for that poor little innocent baby. I don't have that much of a mothering instinct, but I want to, like, fly in on one of the eagles that, like, Sam and Frodo that took them out of Mordor. I want to fly in and scoop that little baby up and save him from that horrible having a guy like that as your father. Madonna me. He, by the first wave of his backhand... What? I had already bolted out. By the first wave of his backhand. I violently ripped... Oh my god, stop using violently as a modifier, because it's just stupid at this point. You used it like 2 sentences ago! I violently ripped my backpack open and tried to put on my skates while maintaining my speed towards the school. What? Okay. After only a few seconds, I was skating at full speed. Wow! You are, like, a wizard, technically, because how do you run and put skates on at the same time? How do you do that? You want to try it? Like, fucking rollerblades. Like, come on. I could already hear the first of many sirens to come far off in the distance. The way that's worded. It's sexual. I could already hear the first of many sirens to come far off in the distance as gunshots continue to ring in the heavy air. First of many sirens to come. Gunshots don't ring. They ring out. Gunshots are fired. The sound of gunshots may ring in somebody's ears if it's close by, but gunshots don't ring in the heavy air. My whole body felt like it was jumping out of my skin. Like this guy's emotions are just all over the place. All over the place. Like, one minute he's scared of Abby, next minute he's violently doing this shit. Like, what the fuck? Can we have just a little bit of consistency? Just this once? Oh, wait. I forgot who wrote this fucking bullshit. Excuse me. Tears continued to pour from my face, from both the wind hitting my eyes and the war raging in my mind. Oh, you're so deep in your own mind, Gregory. As I approached the school, I could see freshly fallen bodies by the door. Wow. Exactly where Seth had walked out as our bus left. Oh my god, you did not need to say as our bus left. That was just so needless. I could have sworn they were... That's not right. I could have sworn they were all still moving, but my eyes were blurred from the tears. Remember he just said a sentence ago that he was crying? And I knew many, if not all, of the shots were fatal. How the fuck do you know that? Just at first glance? Okay. I didn't know much of anything about human anatomy. But through the blur I could tell Seth was shooting people mostly in the neck and head, leaving little for medics to work with. Oh my god, who thinks of this shit as you see your classmates dead on the sidewalk? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh god. Listen, for my job, I have to see pretty horrible pictures, okay? And the first thought that I have when I see people injured and crying and bodies laid out is not, well, I wonder exactly which blow of the gun was the fatal one. 'Cause that's just fucking creepy. That's just fucking creepy. Holy God. I mean, and there's also, I don't know the people that I'm looking at the video. Like, most stuff from AP or Reuters. I don't know these people. This guy knows these people, and that's his first thought? That's really fucked up. I fell to my knees at the entrance, whipping my legs around while simultaneously straining to take off my skates. Why didn't you just fucking run then? It didn't seem like... it was that far of a skate for ya. This comes out of nowhere, too. This whole, shooting scene. All of a sudden, Seth's last interaction was like, you guys, meh. And now he's shooting up the school? I know this is gonna be a weird, this is gonna be a weird thought coming from me, and I acknowledge that, but if, there's gotta be, some kind of planning that goes into that shit that people do. You know what I mean? Seems like, I don't know. I know that that's a really morose, morbid thought. But, this seems kind of arbitrary, out of nowhere for the character, because we don't know anything about Seth. So now is a mastermind that can just shoot people in this day and age at a school shooting. I don't know. It's fucking weird, is all I'm saying. The floor was too slippery with blood to move anywhere on those tiny wheels. I don't think I'm gonna be okay after reading this. Like, I'm thoroughly creeped out already. My pants already had bloodstains from the bodies nearby. Nearby is one word, Greg. Nearby is one word, he put to. I had no time to focus on what was happening, because I had no time to consider anything but Abby's safety. I mean, like, this is so twisted. I ran off in my socks, one barely even on my foot. Leaving everything at the entrance, I felt I was running entirely on autopilot function I didn't even know I had. Oh my god. God damn it. Fucking your stupid run-on sentences are just so irritating. Oh my god. Ew, my eyebrow looks stupid. Sorry, this is just me, like, trying to, like, forget what the hell I'm reading. Just want to make sure that you can't. Okay. Alright, let's keep going. Look at this stupid hair. Oh my god. In only seconds, I saw more blood than I had seen, let alone imagined in my entire life. Oh my god, that was so creepy. My phone just fell out of my hand. The inside of the school was soaked with the sounds of sobbing students who weren't shot but too scared to move or even function. Sound is not soaked. That's just incorrect. This is his attempt at levity. It's not working. One student, clearly in shock, was just crawling down the hall, wailing and shaking. Wow, this is fucked up. The thought of Abby shook me out of the sorrow I felt for that student. Wow. That's a terrifying sentence. That is a really terrifying sentence. This is, like, not okay. This is not okay. Why is this happening so early on in the book? The first place I could think to look for Abby, oh my god, we fucking know that's who you're looking for. Good lord. Was her locker, and I was already halfway there. I approached and found nothing. No one was even shot in the area of her locker, and I had to look elsewhere. Oh, thank God nobody's shot near her locker. Oh, too bad that, I just passed a shitload of people scared and crying, and I'm not going to comfort them because my girlfriend is more important. Oh. I'm, like, sick a little bit. This is sick. This is just fucking sick. I wonder if this is the part of the book that made Greg cry when he reread it and clearly wasn't editing it. Oh my god, my mouth just was like, fuck you, Gina. Okay, let's keep going. Oh my god, just how much more do I have? Because I'm gonna vomit up. Oh my god, it's still going. Oh my god. I saw the words, oh my god, there's so much. Oh my god. Oh, psychopathic piece of shitballs. Alright. As I returned to the entrance of the school, I crouched next to a table and froze in place to listen for any sign of where Seth was. It felt like minutes, but I imagined it was only seconds. What? Okay. My state of mind likely altered my perception of time. Holy oh, nobody gives a shit about this. Oh my god. Ew, I looked creepy right there. Not creepier than James, no. I'm sorry, this lighting is horrible. My face is horrible. Oh, whatever, I don't care. I'm gonna put my hair down. Make myself look a little more presentable. Actually, you know what? This is not a bad look for how creepy this part of the novella is. Alright. I wonder, like... Okay, you guys saw how my mom reacted to this book. I wonder, like, you know, some of the kids that bought the hard copy, I wonder, like, what their parents are thinking. like if they ever, like, oh, what's my daughter doing today? And you go in the room and pick up and say, like, what's this? And they read it and they're like, what? Oh. Right? I don't know. Okay. Every survival-based operation functioning to its maximum ability aside from my flight instinct that demanded I run and hide like the rest. If you're in flight or fight, psychologically speaking, if you're in that state, like, you're gonna fly. You're gonna go. You're not gonna sit and think about fight or flight. You're either gonna go or you're gonna fight. Another gunshot had finally violently... That's the third time in, like, this chapter he's used violently as an adverb. I don't know. One of those two. Another gunshot had finally violently shattered the sounds of whimpers and lungs desperately choking for air as they filled with blood. Fuck me, running. The gunshot sound was distant as if it went off outside, on the other end of the school. I don't know where James is in accordance to where the gunshot is. I don't know where he is in accordance to, like, how far away from the entrance he was. Like, this is just, like, we're expected to know exactly how Greg mapped this in his head. Sprinting off in the direction of what I had already accepted as potentially my final destination. Wow. Just say, running in that direction. Like, he wants to be so deep and so, like, illuminating with his dialogue. But he's not. He just sounds like a prick. Abby remained at the forefront of my mind. Did you guys even think? Did you guys know that he's been thinking about Abby this whole time instead of helping his fellow classmates? Did you guys know that? Because I didn't know that. Bursting out of the side doors of Lakewood High, I crouched and froze in place again. My senses once more ignited. Really? Your senses before that weren't igniting at all? Like, not at all? Okay. I immediately heard a voice scream out, "I will not let you do this, you psychopath." It was an old woman, the only old woman I ever knew to go anywhere near the trailer classrooms just ahead. It had to be Mrs. Stanley. I shot forward like a cannonball being fired on a long-awaited enemy. Long-awaited should have a hyphen there, I believe. Even the wind felt like it had stepped aside to let me pass without resistance. That's actually not a bad sentence, but it's the only one I've seen. It's the only one I've seen that, like, is credible. As the art trailer came into view, I could see Mrs. Stanley approaching Seth. She's, like, you said that this was in the distance. And now he's, like, all of a sudden right where the gunshots are. Cool. She stood tall without any indication of fear. Seth was dressed in a long white coat with a pure white outfit underneath. Oh, get it? Like the cover of his book. This was all clearly premeditated. Listen, I have never in my life ever thought about firing a gun, number one. Maybe like at a shooting range. I've never fired a gun in my life, and I'm scared of them. But school shootings are premeditated. They're all premeditated. No one just wakes up and is like, I'm gonna conceal carry, just put my gun in my holster, I'll just go to school like I always do. You know what? And then just do it. It's all premeditated. It's all premeditated. You are a fucking idiot, Greg. You really are. Because, you know why? Because you don't read. You don't know what's going on in the world. So. Oh, God. Like he wanted to proclaim how much blood he had shed. not just around him, but on his body as well. What? No, the way that is worded implies that he shed his own blood, and then it's reiterated, like, on his body as well. How much blood, like, you would say something different, like how much bloodshed he had caused. Sorry. But Greg's a dumb fucking idiot. He got what he wanted. He was drenched from collar to shoe in the blood of his fellow students. What did he do? Did he, like, shoot them and then, like, gyrate on their bodies? Because, you know, from what I know, and I have a very limited grasp on how blood spatter or whatever and gunshots, I'm pretty sure that if you were to shoot somebody, not saying during a school shooting, or not saying maybe like a home invader, and you just were like, oh my god, let me fire a warning shot. I'm pretty sure the blood doesn't spatter from a gunshot. Right? Okay. Go away. I've got things to do. Well, let me know if he does, and then I will... I won't know until he starts coming downstairs. Well, then scream and tell me, and I'll change location. This is a long chapter. And there's a school shooting. He's describing in ridiculous detail about a school shooting. And you know what chapter we're on? 7 of 20. What the hell? She just shook her head in disappointment, like, oh, why don't I?
No, I shook my head and said, why are you bothering?
Or she shook her head and said, why are you bothering?
You can't even give me a freaking straight answer.
Susan!
Why are you wasting your time?
I told you a million times, because it's funny. Because it's funny. Let me go. It's an issue of one-upsmanship. Maybe it is. Whatever. Here we go. It's an issue of one-upsmanship. It's probably true, so whatever. Who gives a shit? It's also just fucking hilarious to just tear Greg to shreds. He deserves every bit of disdain he ever gets in his life, because he's a piece of shit asshole, and I want to punch him in the face. He's just not a nice person. Okay? He is not a nice person. So. Where the fuck are we? Oh. Despite Mrs. Stanley's aggressive stance, which you already told us about, Seth barely paid attention to her and limped by her trailer as if she didn't even exist. Okay. I assumed his crippled posture was the result... okay. Was the result of the unfathomable reality he had found himself faced with. What are you basing that on? What are you basing that on? Because I don't know. What he was subjecting everyone to, the mortifying level of terror and suffering, was like nothing he had likely imagined. Please don't speak for other people when you are talking in first person. Please don't do that. Oh no, now I have the hiccups for real. Going back wasn't an option on any level. Seth was already dead to the world for what he had done. That's actually a true statement. Technically. Like, you know, jail time, I guess, right? He had to have known there was no peace in life left for him in life. Whoa, 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 whoa. He had to have known there was no peace in life left for him in life. Okay. No place to hide or chance of ever feeling safe from judgment or persecution again. Or the prosecution. He spelled judgment correctly. I'm very happy. Because sometimes people put that E in judgment. Judgement, which is not the preferred way to do it. Mrs. Stanley screamed at him again. You are an embarrassment. A disgrace. How dare you, you scum? Okay. Okay. The kid has a gun. He just shot a bunch of people, and you're gonna, like, verbally berate him? No. Okay. Upon hearing her verbal condemnation without hesitation, Seth whipped his gun towards her. Whipped his wiener towards her. Like a sword being unsheathed. Okay. When you're talking about a gun, comparing it to a sword is a bit, like, really? You're gonna compare it to a sword? It's a gun. It's not a sword. They're both weapons. That metaphor or simile. I forget offhand. It's not a metaphor or simile. I'm sorry. It's the comparison kind of runs flat because you're talking about two different kinds of weapons that don't have anything to do with one another. Time again felt like it had drastically slowed as his weakened arms struggled to steady his aim. Okay. I ran at Seth as he screamed in pain just from the weight of lifting the gun towards her. Why is he injured? Like, what happened? We don't know. We didn't even realize he was injured. I mean, like, the crippled walking, that could have signified, a mental cripple. Like you walk you amble slowly, realizing what you've done. But apparently he's, like, in pain. Okay. Mrs. Stanley tried to step to the side of the shaking muzzle, but maintained her advance on him, clearly hoping to disarm him. I was just about to reach Seth to attempt disarming him, oh my god, when out of nowhere his gun flew in the air and Seth yelped as the air left his lungs. What? I screeched to a halt in my blood-soaked socks, trying to process what was happening. Samesies, except I don't have blood-soaked socks on. I don't have any socks on. My watery eyes and adrenaline was clouding my perception. Nope. If you have two things clouding your perception, you gotta use were. My watery eyes and adrenaline were clouding my perception. Was is single. Like, my watery eyes was no. My eye was. But you're talking about two different things. Plus eyes is plural, so you gotta use were. Idiot! My watery eyes and adrenaline was clouding my perception, possibly even more now than before, but I was able to process that another student had tackled Seth. Wow, okay. I almost immediately identified the student as Jason from his size and clothing type alone. The very same boy who had chipped my tooth and pummeled my face was now beating Seth senseless. Okay. I didn't realize that Jason chipped your tooth, James. In such a strange way, I could sense within myself a glimmer of deep satisfaction. Not only from the realization that Jason had single-handedly cut the head off of this otherwise ongoing tragedy in our lives, but instead that he had without a doubt clearly held back when he was fighting me. Oh my god, you are so self-absorbed. Sick. This time I could see Jason was letting out every ounce of brutal rage he had within him and unleashed it all on a desperately defeated Seth. Still don't know why his arm was in pain. Now he's getting the unholy shit beaten out of him. 7 shades of shit beaten out of him. I don't use that phrase enough. Like, 7 shades of that. That's funny to me. Mrs. Stanley turned her back on Seth, still being dominated by Jason's fists, leaving him for dead to go help other students. I collapsed to my knees, gasping for air, as I heard Seth's face being repeatedly impacted by the fists and elbows of a justifiably enraged Jason. Okay. How could you do that to my family, to all of us? Did you think you accomplished anything, you bastard, you sick freak? This is not how people talk. Jason screamed at the now unconscious, bloodied face of Seth while showing no intention of letting up. So, James is just sitting there watching this happen, too. And yet, he's gonna be in the clear, I bet. As I calmed my breathing, not forgetting my priority for even a moment. Oh, I was really hoping that he was thinking about Abby. I quickly began running through Abby's daily routine at school. You just witnessed, I don't know how many bodies while walking through hallways. You just witnessed an attempted murder. You're watching what could be construed as a murder in process, or like a killing in process. And what's running through your mind is your girlfriend's fucking class schedule. Her class was just before art was human anatomy, which wasn't far from where I was. Running back inside the school, I leapt over fallen chairs and abandoned possessions, only to find Abby's class completely empty. Well, no shit, Sherlock. They're probably all gone. Away from all the gunshots and shit. She was nowhere to be seen. I immediately reminded myself she was normally early. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Which made me feel she had escaped safety, as there was only one door out. A door that, to my knowledge, had no bodies near it. Oh my god, this is so casually creepy. I ran, taking the path of least resistance. Oh, so fucking cliche. Outside the school to see students gathering outside the school property line. They were bundled in a tight-knit group behind the trees immediately outside the bus drop-off zone. Despite my aching feet and intense stress, no. There's no indication you have intense stress at this point. Maybe over Abby, but that's it. I reached the group in little time, now missing a sock and my feet littered with broken glass gathered throughout my search for Abby. What? Let me read that again in normal voice. Despite my aching feet and intense stress, I reached the group in little time, now missing a sock and my feet littered with broken glass gathered throughout my search for Abby. Oh, okay, I get it. But you can say it in like multiple sentences. Like, most all of the girls were crying, while many of the boys were giving a 1,000-yard stare, their eyes locked on the school. Oh, the females are the one crying. The men, they're too strong to cry at a fucking school shooting. Pushing myself through the group, I could see Abby sitting on the ground in an upright fetal position. So, sitting like this? I've never in my life heard upright fetal position. Because feti are normally to the side. Okay, an overwhelming sense of relief consumed me as I fell forward to wrap myself around her. She was shaking and whimpering uncontrollably. Oh. I immediately said, I'm so sorry I wasn't there. Because of course Abby's only concerned about James and not the horrors she's just seen. She lurched up, only then realizing I had found her. She grabbed me with... She grabbed me with a strength beyond any embrace we had had before. I never imagined she was so strong. Oh, wow, you're an asshole. Abby was unable to say anything over her crying. As a wave of emotion continued to overtake me, I had nothing I could say either. We remained speechless together. That was one sentence. That was one fucking stupid-ass sentence. How much more do I have? Oh my god! There's so much more! Through the group of students' legs, I could barely see the lights from police cars pulling up to our school. Everything seemed like it happened over a period of 40 minutes, but it was in fact a small fraction of that. I'll be right back. This lighting is creepy too. Oh my god, I had to move. My dad was downstairs. He's not feeling so well. He's sick with something. Just a bug. Anyway, let's continue. Where was I? Everything seemed like it happened over a period of 40 minutes, but it was in fact a small fraction of that. How do you gauge, like, what 40 minutes is? Seems weird. Soon after, I witnessed unmarked cars, ambulances, and SWAT had all responded with a similar level of urgency as well. What the fuck? No. Wait a minute. Soon after, I witnessed unmarked cars, ambulances, and SWAT had all responded with a similar level of urgency as well. You don't need as well in there because clearly it's an urgent situation. A similar level of urgency. Like, no shit. Oh my god. I'm like all hunched over. I'm like, we're reviewing. Okay. We could only sit and wait as the police sorted out everything that had happened over the next few hours. Okay. After some time, I was able to report on what I saw as I sat on a curb while a medic pulled glass out of my feet. It took them hours to get a medic in there? Yeah, I don't think so. They were all out of ambulances and stretchers, so I was grateful just to have someone to help me get patched up since the adrenaline was no longer distracting me from the pain. Oh my god, you are so wordy and... We were given blankets as we waited outside. Abby refused to be more than a foot away from me for a single moment. We were both so incredibly relieved to still have each other, as if we were vital parts of the same system, one not being able to maintain the stability without the ensured safety of the other. That was completely implied. You did not have to follow it up with that stupid, oh, one can't function without the other bullshit that you just said. I want to bite you in the face like a cobra. Off in the distance, I could see a large amount of empty body bags being delivered. I highly doubt that they would subject students to that. They would clear the students out safely before any of that happened. The entire area was swarmed with every emergency response service you could imagine. But you're not going to tell us, because you can't imagine. Because you know why? You don't read the news. Not far behind stood a group of reporters significantly expanding in size every passing hour. That's not how the news works. They're there when it happens. Why it would... Any good news station would send a reporter as soon as it happened. It's not going to increase every hour. They're all gonna be there at once, especially for a shooting this size. I know that sounds morbid, I'm just thinking like a news person. But he doesn't research, so he doesn't fucking know. Not too long after my feet were bandaged and I had given the police all the information they asked for, I was able to leave with Abby. I'm so, Abby has absolutely no character to back up anything. She's just James version 2.0. That's it. And it's annoying because James's character is much of a mystery, except we know that he's completely psychotic in the face of a tragedy. As we headed towards the cordon, I saw my mom waving her arms just outside the police established barrier. That was like... a cordon is basically a police established barrier. Upon seeing her, the immediate sad reality sank in both our minds that Abby's dad didn't even bother to show. You know what I'm gonna say here? Just stop repeating yourself? No, that's not what I was gonna say. What I was gonna say is stop speaking for other people. And I should tell myself to stop repeating myself. Knowing what I was thinking, Abby tried to reassure me, and likely herself in the process. She began saying her father probably didn't even know there was an emergency, but pointed out that he was probably, oh my god, still recovering from being drunk the night before. Okay. Okay. Why aren't we getting any sort of dialogue here? Like, he's just explaining what the characters say. Which is strange. Because you went into a fuck ton of detail about, the shooting. And how you felt during the shooting. And now you can't be fucked to just give a little dialogue here. As I walked into my mom's arms. That sounds weird. You walked into your mom's arms. I just picture, like, a guy walking and, like, here's his mom standing here. And she's like, James, and he just walks into them. These are her arms. These are her legs. I know that's really crude, but, like, you're walking into just somebody's arms. She became the second woman that day to show me a strength I had never imagined they had. Oh my god! Oh my god, Greg! Oh my god. Oh god, don't say they when you're talking about one person. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Nothing. I'm fine. Don't worry, I'm fine. Oh, my dad was like, what's the matter? I don't know, they're just talking downstairs. Her hug, while painful, offered me an unforgettable sense of comfort. As she embraced me, she revealed to my surprise that she had already been briefed on how close I was to everything that went down. Really? I don't think that's not how it happens. They're not gonna tell all that shit right away. Continuing to hold me in one of the longest hugs I had ever experienced, she told me how mad at me she was, while also expressing how simultaneously, oh my god, proud she was of me for running into danger when so many people ran away. His mom is proud that her son just walked past bodies and let people who may have been alive just die. Greg. Oh. I imagine she has assumed it was to help everyone in the school, but the truth is, I could only feel selfish, knowing I wasn't doing anything for anyone but Abby. Oh my god. Oh, I was ashamed and somewhat terrified by how little I seemed to care about most everyone else outside her. Whew, some self-awareness. A smidgen, but it's there. I just read it. However, knowing how Greg thinks, I think he's just, saying what we want to hear. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the true intention behind this. The love and compassion being expressed towards me continued to leave me speechless. Oh my god, that sentence was like the definition of show don't tell. I felt Abby rubbing my back as my mom continued to lock her arms around me. Abby's physical act of affection triggered a thought causing me to jolt upright. What? What are you, what are you jolting upright from? You're standing up. No? Or is his wiener jolting upright? I don't know. I quickly asked my mom if Abby could stay with us that night, and she responded positively. I haven't seen a single piece of dialogue. There has not been a single piece of dialogue since he said, "I'm sorry I wasn't there" to her. Like, what is the big deal about just giving some dialogue here? I don't understand. Her one stipulation was that we had to stop by her dad's house to first get his consent. And dad is capitalized. Capital D-A-D. We all got in my mom's car, and mom is not capitalized, and drove to Abby's house. My mom approached the entrance of their home by herself, knowing we were basically unable to do anything outside repeatedly revisiting what had happened earlier that day. Oof. That's a lot of words that didn't say anything, really. She knocked on the door multiple times and got no answer. She then walked back to the car and said, "Oh my god, dialogue! Hey, Abby, seems no one is home. Want me to get your things for you?" Abby replied, "No, it's okay. I'll get them myself. My dad, kind of crazy about intruders. Wouldn't want anyone." Abby stopped speaking and simplified things. "Be right back." No, that's not simplifying anything. That's just not wanting to continue that sentence. My mom opened the car door for Abby and she hopped out to quickly raid her room for the essentials. Because you can see that with the remote camera attached to the flexible hose. That's an MST3K line. Before I knew it, she was outside again with a bag full of her things. She was so quick to pack that it occurred to me leaving her place on the fly might have been more familiar to her than I knew. That's a bit of character development right there. A small hint. But it's there. Huh? It's there. She was, remembering her brief comments earlier, I imagine there were many times where her home had become such an emotionally hostile environment that she was rendered unable to stay, causing her to seek most any way out, even if it meant she was leaving one sinking ship just to climb aboard another. Oh, I wish you didn't add that, Greg. You didn't need that. You didn't need that. I as the reader, totally got, like, wow, she was quicker than I thought, you know? She must have, you know, like, you didn't need on all of that. Your readers are not stupid. Like, stop treating your readers like they're stupid. And I know maybe he's not intentionally doing that, but having to reiterate the fact that, like, yeah, she packed quickly. Maybe she has a suitcase ready to go because she has such a fucked up home life. Like, we know. We got that. I got that right away. And then you just added this whole fucking run-on sentence. Let me just count how many words were in that sentence, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51 words in a sentence. Oh, God! My mom began talking about how happy she was that my sister had skipped school that day. She said, "Who would have thought her rebellious attitude and disregard for her future might have saved her life? Nobody talks like that. Had we not been through everything that day, we would have given at least a slight laugh, but found ourselves all sitting in an awkward silence." All right, we get what you've been through that day. We know what you've been through. After cleaning ourselves up, Abby and I walked into my room, leaving the door open as a comfort to my mom. This was short-lived, the end specifically occurring. What? After my mom had walked into her room and closed the door. Our door closed with hers. Our door? Ugh. Initially, I had offered Abby the bed, implying I would take the floor, but she sat down on the mattress and expressed almost exactly what I was feeling. Oh my god. After everything we went through today, you lying next to me is the only way I'll feel any comfort tonight, she said softly. Oh god. Oh my fucking god. Oh. Like, Abby clearly has a traumatic life. Now, let's analyze when we're done. Oh my god, almost done. I was relieved and laid behind her through that night and a few nights to follow. And laid behind her? Laid is like, lane. It's like I hate that word. I don't know if that's correct. She called her dad at home repeatedly in the days after to let him know what had happened, but he still didn't answer. As was expected, school had been cancelled for a couple weeks. Really? As was expected? This reality left us to consume our time with the news, talking about the people we recognized in the photos they showed, and checking in on various people. What the fucking what? Oh my god, let me start this over. This reality left us to consume our time with the news, talking about the people we recognized in the photos they showed and checking in on various people we talked to at school over the phone, including Davis, who had no problem getting upset at me the first time in a long while for abandoning him on the bus as I did. That was all one sentence. Oh my god. Fortunately, in natural Davis fashion, his frustration was quickly followed by jokes and words of encouragement. Okay. Abby and I didn't know how to feel about so much of what happened. Like, nope, we're gonna analyze it later. Through our time away from school, we shared many moments of sadness, reflecting on the faces we would never see again, hearing the sad speeches of those left behind by the fallen. But most of all, our expressions of sorrow erupted from our own experiences. The images and screams still echoed in our minds. Please stop speaking for Abby, I swear to fucking God. Aside from sadness, I felt an almost equally intense sensation of numbness. Oh. You know why I read it like that? Because there's no fucking comma in that sentence. Aside from sadness, comma, it should be there, I felt an almost equally intense sensation of numbness. After a short time, I found only comfort that consistently broke through my shaken state was the warmth of Abby pressed against me night after night. She was my sanctuary. That's chapter 7. That was a really stupid fucking chapter. Like, there was a lot of trauma in that chapter. And, like, he just brushes over, like, the after effects of it. He just brushed over it. Nobody mentions any kind of grief counseling. It's just like, oh, I felt really sad about people that I went to school with. But you fucking hated all of them, like, in the beginning, in the first chapter. You hated all of them. So where's all this bullshit coming from? Like, I don't believe you. I don't believe him for a second. Because he's so underdeveloped as a character. Like you can give all these traits about the character. It still doesn't mean that it's showing development here. I'm not seeing this character grow in any way. Like, maybe there would have been some semblance of growth if he had been like, if something had come of, excuse me, of him acting differently after the school shooting, or like in, like, during the school. I don't know. I just can't believe he's so flippant about this like a pretty traumatic instance. Like, a school shooting does not happen every day. And I mean, like the depth of and gravity of a situation like that is not something that can just be brushed off so easily. I mean, days ago, 147 people were fucking gunned down in the morning while they were praying at a Kenyan university. Like 147 people were gunned down. Like just nothing. Do you think people are just sitting around just feeling sad about it and like, oh, that's a shame. Like that's how this is coming off. People are just like, oh, well, like people that were involved in the shooting there. People are just like, oh, yeah, that's, oh, well, I feel sorrow. Like the way that was written was like an alien who had seen a couple movies in his time here on Earth, maybe read a couple books, and then decided to mimic how real human emotions work. And he didn't succeed. Is the parentheses after that statement. So that's 7 chapters down. I think that is, well, that's it for now. I'm powering through. We're gonna get through this. As long as you guys want me to continue. And then I think when it's all said and done, I will make it all unlisted. And I'm not monetizing these videos. I don't want to make this for profit. So, this is falling under fair use, I would say. I hope so. Because these are fucking awesome videos. Alright, I gotta shut the fuck up. And go back to New York. So, take care, bitches.